look what we found. Well, actually what Andrew found, if I'm completely honest about that. This male ground hornbill. Oh, they are spectacular birds. Look at the power in that beak. Fearsome hunter of snakes and rodents and frogs alike, and one of the most critically endangered species that you can see out here. Amazing to think that you're looking at one of only about 1,400 individual birds in the world. So critically endangered. They're big, about the size of a turkey, and in Kruger have something of a reputation for pecking cars. They get very territorial. But look at that incredible pouch around his neck. It's breeding season for these ground hornbill. I love that strut. Such extraordinary, extraordinary birds. I think it is supposition, but I think this is the male that we've been seeing on Arethusa as well. Usually you see them in family groups, but I think this is a male on the search for a breeding opportunity, or a lady. Where are you going to go, mister? Now this is one animal where human beings, because we have played such a large role in their species reduction in numbers and the level of endangerment, one animal that has an exceptionally high level of human interference. Let's do this carefully. We'll just think about this for one moment. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Which way are you going to go? He's changing his mind. So in the area that I used to work at, what we would do is, with the ground hornbills, because they're so critically endangered, ground hornbills have 2 babies at a time. They lay 2 eggs at a time. The second one doesn't survive. It's essentially an insurance policy in case the first egg doesn't hatch. When the second egg does hatch, it's outcompeted by the older sibling, and thus seriously struggles in life. So what the Mabula Ground Hornbill Project does is, once the first egg is hatched, so good boy, you're right boy. Oh, he's got something. If I get any closer, he's going to fly away, so we just have to deal with our view for now. He's found something that he's feeding on. So anyway, so what the Mabula Ground Hornbill Project does is it takes the second egg once the first egg has hatched, and they are hand-raised, but hand-raised in a way that they don't imprint on humans and can be released back into the wild, raised with puppets and then other ground hornbills. But that is a level of interference that isn't all that common out here. Heather, I know you were wondering whether we ever obtain medical treatment for the creatures out here. It does happen every now and again, particularly for critically endangered animals such as wild dogs, cheetahs and rhino, and ground hornbill as well. That being said, it only really occurs when an injury is human-induced, or whatever's wrong with the animal has come from a human source. For example, maybe a snare that's come from bushmeat poaching, possibly poisoning. That's where medical intervention does occur. But other than that, the general approach is to let nature take its course in whatever way, shape or form that takes. Thus, if you ever find yourself in the Kruger National Park and you see a ground hornbill, there are notices all over the place requesting you to report them. And one thing that they do is they put bands around their legs I know that Chris Rogue, you were asking about that, and yes, they do. For the purposes of scientific research, they will mark and ring different hornbill groups. I'm going to try to get us onto the road. I haven't seen the ring on this one. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. As soon as we get a nice clear view, I'll have a look and see if it's got a ring around its foot. And one thing we do at WildEarth as well is we report all sightings of things like ground hornbills for Panthera and other research purposes. Now the reason I didn't want to push any closer was because, yes, Carolyn, they can fly. They're predominantly ground-based species, but they nest high up in hollows of big trees. So they are more than capable of flying and covering large distances. It's quite a ponderous flight because they're heavy birds, but they can fly, which is why I didn't want to push too much closer through the bushes, because he will just leave us. Where did you go, boy? There you are. So males and females for when you do your next trip or see your next hornbill to report to the scientists. The females have a blue patch under their chin that the males lack. Now this bird will have taken 7 years to reach sexual maturity and start heading out on his own to look for breeding opportunities. One of the reasons that they are so critically endangered, they have a very long life cycle. I'll give him some space so that he doesn't disappear on us. One of the most amazing calls of any bird out here. What did you just munch? Young beetle. Young beetle just went down the hatch. Raisa, I agree. I always enjoy seeing a ground hornbill. Especially when you think about how critically endangered they are. The fact that there are 1,400 of them in the world actually equates to maybe 300 pairs. Oh, and Brent has a spotted cat. Let's head across to him.
Welcome back, guys. So what that impala obviously smelt or heard was a leopard. Aubrey was just behind us, and he's managed to spot it there. I'm not sure who it is yet. We've just arrived, and it looks like Karula, from what I can see. So, a big thank you to Aubrey and Wium for finding the leopard for us. It's amazing what a difference 5 minutes can make when you're moving through the bush. Right on the boundary, so hopefully she keeps this direction and doesn't head any further east. Nice work for him. She's stopped now. I'm trying to see where she is. She's in the thicket here. You see the spots. I'm trying to work maybe a little bit to the right here. It's amazing. I can see her with my eyes, but you got her. Camera can't. Oh, she's moving again. Out there, we are watching a female leopard live in the African bush. Many of our viewers, the queen of Juma, Karula, she's our dominant female in this area. There she is. Looks like she's on the hunt. So just to keep you guys updated, also the wild dogs have been found to the east of us, outside of our traverse zone, unfortunately. But the great thing about wild dogs is they can change their direction very quickly and they cover huge distance. She's just climbed up to the top of that termite mound. There we go. Using the height to check. She's being very nice and walking parallel with the road, so we're able to watch her hunt from a little bit of a distance away. And hopefully, in this windy weather, she'll get some success. Obviously, those impalas spotted or smelt her earlier. It was quite strange because we only heard one little alarm call, and then they didn't call again, so which makes me think they just caught her scent and they didn't actually see her. She's seen something. Oh no, she just jogged down the hill. It looked like she might have seen something because she sped up. Morning, morning, morning. She's right in front there. Yeah, perfect. So she's going to come up out into the slightly more open area now. You got her there? Ah, there you go. She's still on the move. Okay, got her there now. She should be coming up into this gap shortly. There she is. Wow, see how she uses every little bit of height to climb and check ahead. She's stopping, she's listening. She could be listening for those little contact calls between baby impala and their mothers. At this time of the year, baby impala make up a huge part of a leopard's diet. might be going a little bit further north, which is good for us. Which means she's going deeper into Juma and further away from the boundary. And that's a good thing. So we had a question a bit earlier from Kevin. Notice that we off-road. So Kevin, without being able to off-road, we'd never be able to follow the animals like we do and get in the position to show you the best safari possible. And the Queen Karula. And she looks like she has fed, but not very recently, so she's definitely on the hunt. So you're going to notice here she's going to come up this termite mound, and then she'll keep her head just below the top, although she's doing it behind a bush. There we go, you see that? So she doesn't break the profile of the top of the termite mound. So as she pops her head up, if an impala or something happened to glance, it would look like one of the peaks of the termite mound, and it also gives her a bit of extra height to survey the land in front of her. She's listening, looking. And you'll find a lot of leopards will actually move termite mound to termite mound, checking for potential prey. See how her ears are constantly moving around. How are you this morning, Anne? Oh, there she's off again. Karula. So there are often quite a lot of impala in this area, so fingers crossed she finds some. So she always stops, listens, checks. And she's not only using her eyes, but her ears, and sometimes her smell as well. You know, she's smelling something now. A nice, cool, windy morning, good for hunting for her. The wind sometimes confuses her potential prey. And she could be smelling or looking for one of her favorite prey species, which is steenbok, a little antelope, and they live in very small territories of about 4 acres. Okay, let's move on. Let's go. So we're going to go back to Jamie with that ground hornbill quickly while I try to loop around to get in front of her again.
We're still with our incredible bird, now that you've had that short but wonderful time with Karula. We've been sticking with this particular male. Oh, they're beautiful. They are such striking birds. Look at those eyes and the eyelashes. Oh, spotted something. Oh, false alarm. So we've chatted about this before, and the fact that hornbills, in terms of common sense, sometimes lack a little bit. And they very often attack their reflections. And that goes for all of the hornbill family, yellow-billed, red-billed. They're quite aggressive and territorial birds. But when you are the size of a turkey with a powerful beak that's built for snake killing, that means that the windows that they attack get smashed. And that's one of the reasons for their slow decline in population. It's interesting that he's chosen to hang around this area. Usually you find ground hornbills, they love to nest in really big marulas or jackalberries, something with a nice high cavity that's big enough for them to be able to feed their chicks. You usually find them around riverine areas. It's nice that we've got this particular one foraging around here. So once they reach adulthood, they'll usually stick with their families for a while, which is why you often see them in family groups. They're cooperative breeders, which means that the adult offspring will spend time with their families trying to help raise the chicks of the next year's brood. But they're very particular about their nesting sites, and they return there year in and year out. To be very tricky to predict in terms of where he's going to go. He's going to move into more dense vegetation. Let's try and stick with him. It's not often we get the opportunity to really watch a ground hornbill go about its daily business. While we loop around to find him, Brent has very cleverly managed to relocate Karula. Let's head across there.
So atop another termite mound, decided to take a little break, but still incredibly alert. I think she will move again. And guys, don't forget to get some screenshots and share them on our Facebook page, SafariLIVE, or share them on Twitter using the hashtag SafariLIVE. I'm going to do the same. And that's that clicking noise. And beautiful profile. Ears up and alert. So, comment from Natasha, the beautiful queen is on a mission to fill her tummy. I agree with you, Natasha. So nice that it's quite cool this morning, so she's super active and alert. Listening really carefully. So, a very good morning to Jaden, who is watching via YouTube and is a new viewer. Welcome, Jaden, to the SafariLIVE family. And Jaden says, isn't it amazing how she's ignoring the humans? Well, Jaden, to her, the vehicles don't really represent humans. They smell like petrol and oil and whatnot, and they've only been around for 100 years, so she doesn't have an instinctive response to them. And if you drive carefully and considerately, and you are able to follow a leopard going about its daily business, if you're on foot, it would be a slightly different story. They recognize the bipedal figure of man as a dominant diurnal predator, and normally try to slink away from you. So nice to have the queen of Duma back regularly. There was a couple of months where we didn't see her too regularly. She seemed to spend more time in the east and in the north. Good area for her to hunt in, sort of broken mixed woodland, lots of sort of spots of cover, and this particular area has got quite a lot of duiker and steenbok, which are two of her favorite foods. Also, I'm sure she'll be looking for baby impala. A little bit of preening. A bit of de-fleeing or de-ticking. Even a leopard, which is quite a cleanly cat, has often a high number of ticks and fleas and other ectoparasites. Well, Jenny would like to know if any of the vehicles would interrupt Karula's hunting anyway. Generally not, Jenny, but inadvertently sometimes it does. But obviously all of us here try and make sure we interrupt her as little as possible. But sometimes by accident you can interrupt her, but it is definitely not the norm. And she has been followed by safari vehicles since she was a couple of weeks old. So she's very used to them being around her. And Sabi Sands leopards have been known to actually use the trucks to their advantage when hunting, using them as a cover to stalk behind. So this is very normal big cat behavior. Move, 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 lie down, wait, get up again, move, 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 and then lie down and wait. And on a cool morning like this, I'm quite sure she is going to move again shortly. Renee would like to know if there's ever been a record of female leopards not being able to have cubs. I'm sure there has been, Renee. I can't think of one offhand. I'm sure. She's listening intently. I wonder, it'd be amazing to be able to hear like a leopard, pick up all the other sounds. Obviously their hearing is infinitely better than ours. Absolutely stunning animal. She's obviously picking up a whole bunch of signals we're not getting. Sound, smells. You can see wind gusting around her, the grass moving. So even though she's stationary now, she still is very alert, so it's not like she's going to go to sleep just yet. So Ellen in Arkansas would like to know whether leopards and other animals will climb up onto a termite mound to get the warmth that is coming out of it. For those of you not sure, termites like to keep their inside of their mounds at about 32 degrees Celsius. It's the optimum temperature for growing fungus, and that's obviously the fungus growing termites. And she'd like to know whether this mound is active. I'm just going to have a quick look in my binos at that. Yes, this one is active. You can see just to the right of her, there's been some new buildings. And how they keep the termite mounds at that temperature that's optimum is by opening and closing different vents on the mound. So you can see that vent's open there to the right of her. So while we wait for the queen to get moving again, let's go see what Jamie's got.
Guys, we've got such a cool scenario playing out here. That is an African Harrier hawk surrounded by 5-6 drongos, all thoroughly disgruntled with its presence. So the African Harrier hawk is famed for stealing other birds' nests and chicks, raiding them. It's got special legs. Look at them go, they're mobbing him. And drongos are famously aggressive birds. Come on. Shame. And he's desperately trying to ignore them. He was flying until the flock of about 7 or 8 of them descended upon him. Look how cross he is. Feathers ruffled in the wind, starting to flush red around the face in agitation. Seriously not impressed. Look at that red flush. That face is usually yellow, but in response to the actions of the drongos, he's starting to flush. They've got double jointed legs that bend backwards to make raiding nest holes even easier, which is why the drongos are so seriously unimpressed with his presence. Swooping in, essentially trying to irritate it. An incredible sighting, but Karula is up and about. Let's head back there.
It's on the move again. Position to follow again. I think. Okay, there she is. We smelled something in there. She might have found a spot where there could be some rodents. And leopards are great opportunists with such a varied diet. They'll eat everything from insects to large mammals. Look at her move, and she moves so quietly. Stopped up ahead. Oh, she's off again. Let's see where she's going before I decide which route to pick through the bush. Look at that, her tail's up. There was a little rattling testicular that just alarmed at her. It's sort of a signal with leopards if they're not going to try eat whatever's alarming at them. The tail goes quite high up in the air. Stopped on a log, using it to get a little bit of extra height. I'm just going to try and get us through the gap. How's that building? There she is. Not the best area. out there, Wium. It's always important to try to pick your routes through the bush. Obviously, she can pick and choose her way a lot easier than we can. Coming up to a road now, whether she decides to walk on the road or carry on through the bush. Oh, she's gone straight across the road. Harrier. Very well in yourself. Hello everyone. She stopped and listening again.
Walk and she's listening. There's a chance that engine is off. She's also listening.
Off she carries on. Fortunately heading deeper into Djuma, not towards the boundary. Watch out there, Wium. Sorry guys, just going to be on the radio for a second. Oh, she's going into a terrible monkey orange thicket, so I'm going to try and keep on the edge of it. Tux. Tux, come along Drakensberg. She's cut slightly more west and is heading down towards Drakensberg. One of the nice things about having these short wheelbase vehicles is we're able to dip through little gaps like that the longer game drive vehicles wouldn't be able to. Still see her, Wium? Oh, there she is, right here. I think she's looking for Dike or Steenbok in this area. Just the way she's zigzagging. AFM Andrew still moving sort of west. Tax closer to Drakensberg now. She's just stationary at the moment on a log, but I think she's going to keep moving almost directly to that junction. I would say stay at Drakensberg for now. She's in the middle of this monkey orange thicket, but she is moving now almost more southwest towards that junction, Drakensberg Central. Hey, Frim, okay. She's heading now down towards the road. I don't know if you've got my vehicle audio. Area for her. Lots of these little monkey orange thickets that she's zigzagging through, hoping to surprise a steenbok or a duiker. You can see how she just melts into the bush. Taking us through these terrible thickets. They sound a lot worse than they are. These little monkey oranges just spring back once you go over them. Very tough little bush. So I apologize for the noise, but it's one of the things when you're following an animal off the road, and I think there's a strong possibility if we stay with her, she's going to find a steenbok or a duiker. So just bear with me for a little bit with the noise. Drive over trees, we straddle them, we keep them in the middle so they pop up. We don't use the tires to push them down. Taxi, you got my visual? She's heading straight for you. Okay, so she's going to come out onto the road again. Oh, there's a hole. Jenny would like to know, is there a specific or particular reason why we track big cats? I'm not going to be able to get through there. I'm going to have to go around fallen trees. Well, Jenny, it's because they're quite often the most sought after of the animals to see. And people have fascination with predators. And there I'm going to have to duck under this one. I'm going to hopefully pass it up slowly. Very good. There we go. Jenny, so it's because people also have a fascination with predators. And it is great to be able to follow them and have a look at their sort of secret lives. And we're fortunate enough that we spend so much time with them, you actually get to know quite a bit about the history and habits of these cats. Christopher from Arizona would like to know, do I think that the leopards recognize all the different guides as individuals, or do they just view humans as all the same? Christopher, I'm going to say I think they think all people are the same. I don't think they see any of us as individuals. I know certain people might disagree with me, but I've spent a long time in the bush following animals in lots of different countries, and I really don't think they recognize us as individuals at all. Where is she gone? There she is. There we go. And you can see she's zigzagging through this area, definitely hunting. So she's gone north, south, east, west, keeps changing her mind today. And it's a good sign that she's hunting. I think she's looking for, as I said, steenbok and duiker in this area.
The weather's allowing her there.
Yeah, nice, cool, windy weather. Good for hunting if you're a leopard. Thoroughly unpleasant if you're me and really don't like the cold. right into this very thick area here on our right, but we've still got a nice visual of her from the road. So I think the reason she's going from these little thickets to thickets is that in this cool weather, the Stenbok and Duiker might be by resting and sleeping. So she's trying to find one of them. Again. And so Duiker and Stenbok would lie up possibly in these little thickets in this cold weather. Let's go around. Try to get up ahead of her where it's a bit more open. How's that, Wium? I'm going to do it forward. She's being very kind at the moment, but if she goes any further to the west, it's a very challenging area for us to follow her. Oh, bit of scent marking. So even if you're hungry and hunting, oh, look at her, she's going up the tree. Almost looks like she's looking for squirrels. She might be hunting squirrels. As she went up, she was sniffing all the little holes. Down again. See, there we are, stopping and sniffing those holes again. And a little scent mark on the way out. So a big warm SafariLIVE welcome to I Am Myna, who's a new viewer. I Am Myna would like to know why the noise of the vehicles doesn't scare off this leopard. Well, this leopard's grown up with the vehicle, so from a very young age she's been exposed to a vehicle. Vehicles are only been around for about 100 years, so she doesn't have an instinctive response to them. They don't smell like anything dangerous or anything to eat. They smell like petrol and oil. So she's not perturbed at all. You can see she treats the vehicle with complete disdain and ignores us. Let's see if we can find a gap to get through to keep up with her. She is going west, and this is a difficult lock, even for us in our little car. Watch the thorns on the left there. Yep. Another nice little gap, but we were able to follow. Oh dear. One of the biggest problems which makes this block so difficult to follow animals through is the fact that there's quite a lot of young knob thorns in here, and the elephants have pushed a lot of them over, which makes it very difficult to follow. As you can see, everywhere we look, just pushed over trees, pushed over by the ellies. Oh, hello. Ciao, baby. Copy, thanks, Tax. She might change her direction. Apparently, Tax can see some elephants ahead of her. We will try our best to stay with her, but we might lose her in this area. She's sitting down, listening. And there might be something just ahead that we can't see. Looks like she might have heard something. Watch how her body language has changed. Firm. She's just looks like she started to show interest in something. I can't see what it is though. You should get Tax's visual from the road if you keep coming on Drakensberg.
At the audio?
Yeah. So the elephants are just near where Taxon is, just to the south of us. Copy, thanks. Like she's busy stalking something. I can't see what it is. So they could be impala, it could be a nyala, could be a dyke, it could be a stenbok, but you can see how her body language has changed completely. Look at her, look how she'll put her feet exact. Look at that. She'll put her back foot exactly the same place as her front foot. She has chosen the worst area for us to follow her. Look at that. Okay, she's moved. We're going to try and get into the position where we might be able to see. Now that we're not directly behind her, we won't affect. Watch out for the thorns outside there. Okay, she's disappeared. Oh, there's some... Let's see. I'm going to jump over the branch. Fun. So elephants have broken down so much bush here, it makes it very difficult. I think she's after a scrub hare in this. Oh, she gave up the scrub hare, ran away. Hello, madam. There she goes. She's looking towards where the eddies are. Going to test my driving skills again. And she goes through there, so we're still with her. Up with her is going to be quite the challenge. Almost going through a little archway here. Oh boy. Don't go that way, madam. We're going to try stay with her. She is taking us through an interesting area, let's call it that. I've lost sight of her. Just give me a second. Do you see anything? Where she disappeared? There she is. Just make out her rosettes through the bush. From tax, we've still got visual. Sort of southwest, but she's stationary at the moment, just sniffing around. can hear the little bird alarm calls all around that have spotted her. Where are you going, madam? She's coming back out. Well, hello, Bead Window, a new viewer on YouTube. Yes, this is live, and that is a leopard, and you're on safari in Africa. Oh, she's been spotted by the squirrels now. You can hear them alarm calling at her. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, thorns in my back. Okay, madam, how am I going to get through this now? Watch that canvas there. Oh, dear me, dear me. Are we going to fit through this little gap? Give that little. Okay. Sorry guys, it's going to be on the radio. Standing by. From central Drakensberg, maybe go down central 100 meters or so. She is moving now south towards central. I'll try to stay with her. It's a very, very thick block there. The longer game drive vehicles aren't able to go through these really thick areas like we are. So we are just sort of sneaking our way between tiny little gaps at the moment, trying to stay with the Queen of Juma on the hunt. Deary me. Careful on the right here, Wium. We're going to have to go really slowly through this. I can't see a way to avoid it. Thorns. I'm just going to go very slowly. I'm going to try to lift this over carefully without impaling myself, but you can get out of here. Okay. Careful, careful. Good. Slowly, slowly. Okay, we're going to go across to Jamie while we try and get ourselves out of this thorny predicament, but we'll be right back. Hopefully we haven't lost her in the meantime.
There we go, one of the surviving members of the wildebeest herd. Little one dashing off with mom. They are so on edge. We've seen 3 different mothers with 3 different calves, while you were with Brent and the wonderful Karula, all separate from each other and all very, very skittish. It's also windy, it's cloudy, so that adds to it, but I think that they are somewhat traumatized by the events of the other night and the attack of the 2 Styx lionesses. I'm not even going to try and stick with those 2. They are so nervous that we won't be able to keep up with them. We've made our way onto Arathusa to see what's happening around here. Andrew and I have spent quite a significant portion of our morning on our private safari chasing impala alarm calls, but every time it's just been the males rutting with the females, or attempting to, or chasing other males away. They're very, very vocal at the moment. Interesting, just to finish off that Harrier hawk sighting that we had earlier, they chased the Harrier hawk away and all of the birds sort of congregated. There was a lilac-breasted roller that was mobbing it, a grey hornbill, which I've never ever seen before, and several drongos, and they all gathered together and sort of sat and called in the trees for a while. And then for some reason that I absolutely do not understand, the drongos started mobbing the grey hornbill. Never seen that. I don't know why. As far as I know, there's no kind of threat coming from a grey hornbill. Hello. I can actually see her head sticking out. Well done, Andrew. Hello, guys. They've probably only just decided to emerge now, just because it's so chilly this morning. Andrew and I have been shivering as we drive along. And I imagine that these little guys have been feeling much the same. They're quite happy to sleep in when it's chilly like this. Looking for breakfast now. Hey, little mongoose. Maybe back to bed, thinking about it. Where's the rest of your group? Looking around, seeing if I can spot any others. And there's also a lilac-breasted roller. That was the call. They've got an incredibly, for a beautiful bird, they've got an incredibly harsh, almost ugly call. It's from a beautiful bird to a beautiful cat. Brent is still with Karula, so let's pop back across there.
So we lost her for a little bit there, but we've managed to catch up with her. Unfortunately, she is heading towards an area I'm not even going to attempt to drive through. We look up ahead here. It's just a mass of fallen trees. We will try to keep parallel to her though, for as long as we can. Oh yeah, now where to? She is there. I don't know where we're going to be able to go from here. Might be able to sneak through there. Hang on, I just got to be on the Game Live radio for a second. Oh, look at that white-crowned shrike attacking her. I just had a brief visual of someone's vehicle. I'm not sure whose. We're directly opposite. Whoever is, it sounds like further to the east on Central. If you hear that white-crowned shrike alarming, and that's where we are. Hey, friend. there's that shrike that's alarm calling at Karula. Even did a quick dive bomb of her. Okay. Now, next challenge is to get through this little spot. We might be able to make it. That side, Wium? So, there she is. Hello, madam. Neon Tiger, who's another new viewer. Welcome. Says she looks like a cheetah. What's the difference? Well, you can see a leopard has rosettes. Oh, she's on the stalk again. Her shoulder just changed. Has she seen something that we haven't? Maybe not. Standing up again. Oh dear. She really is taking us through some interesting country this morning. I plan my next maneuver depending on where she goes. I'm trying to see if there's like she might have heard or smelled something. She is really giving us the difficult area to work through. She's moving quite fast. Well spotted. I've lost visual of her now. There she is. Good spot, Wium. Right through the middle of these thickets. Try to get round. Watch the thorns on the left here. Oh, firm, she's right in the center of all those fallen down knob thorns at the moment. She looks like she saw something. No sign of her. Last place we saw her was right in the middle of these thickets. Right, there we go. So Craig's got her. She's popped out onto the road. Thankfully, hopefully she stays on the road for a bit. I could do with some restful driving. Get very big forearms at this rate going through this bush. Onto the road. Oh, that was fun. So some technical driving this morning. Moving through this little area of broken trees here. Can't see her at the moment. Craig, you still have visual? Let's go check that termite mound. Maybe that's a good spot. She likes sitting on top of those. Yeah, this is possibly one of the worst areas to follow a leopard in the whole of Juma. Trying to... You got it? Oh, look at that. Wium's just spotted her tail. On the back side of the termite mound, you can just see her tail sticking up on the right-hand side there. Let me just move. I'll move quickly for you. Yeah. Look at that. Well spotted, Wium.
Where the fallen tree is, but that's the termite mound, it's a little white tip.
Yep.
You see a tail?
I see it.
Good spot, Wium. So we thought she might have moved to a termite mound. While we've been following her this morning, she's made her way from termite mound to termite mound.
Can you see the little white tip of the tail?
I'm going to try and move around. Try again. Let's try and find a spot. There's a big stump behind us. That's not going to work. Yeah, just in case she moves through. So we're just going to try and preempt her next move. Let's see if we can see her from the front. There's Tax, doing the same as we are. There she is. Try to get you a gap. How's that, Wium? Not the world's best gap. Trying to find a gap. Right, there's a gap coming, I think. No. Maybe. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to wait where we can see her. It's very thick in there, and I'm pretty sure she's going to come down, so we'll get you a few rosettes through the bush. Oh, look, yeah, I think she's going to move. Yeah, and she's on the move again. FM. She's mobile down towards the road. So X-Rang is saying, if I don't have a puncture, I'm a very lucky individual. While X-Ranger, I get the least punches out of everyone, and I off-road the most. I just know where to put my tires. I watch a little bit more carefully, and which trees to drive over and which not to. Because there's nothing fun about changing flat tires. It's just that I've removed my earpiece somehow. I'll try now. Oh, there we go. She's moving parallel to the road here. I'm just going to let... There we go. Just going to go right past Tax. Just going to let Craig go in front of me. He's been dying to get a good visual of her and hasn't been able to yet. She's changed direction again, coming back this way. This is what makes Karula the most difficult female leopard in this area to track on foot. She changes direction so often. So there she goes. I mean, she was going north all morning, now she's going south, and she went west for a bit as well. The ideal sort of area for it to hunt, lots of broken cover. So leopards are ambush predators. They'll generally stalk within up to about 5 meters and then pounce. And that when they do pounce, they pounce at about 24 meters per second. That's around 90 kilometers an hour. So we're just going to hang back a little bit and let the other vehicles have a good view. We've had such a fantastic time and spent the whole morning with her. So I'm just going to let the guests from the other lodges have a good view. We're not leaving, but we might not have the best visuals of her for the next bit. And so while we let them get a visual, if anything exciting happens, we'll be right back. Let's go see what Jamie's up to.
Well, Andrew and I continue on our private safari. Andrew has come up with, I think, one of the best games to play in the bush ever. So Andrew and I have been discussing, whilst looking at various members of general game and animals, what music, what type or genre of music each animal would listen to. So we're in total agreement that elephants would be listening to classical music. There would be Beethoven lovers and Mozart and Haydn, maybe the odd Wagner lover and some old bull. One old bull. We're still trying to figure out the rest. What did we go with for monkeys? The Beatles. We decided that, yeah, monkeys like the Beatles. Could you like sort of indie style music? And it's a fun game. See if you guys can think of some really interesting options, because we've had a great time. I've decided definitely hippos listen to old school jazz and old school blues. No question in my mind that that's how that works. Fun game to play. What did we say giraffe were again? Giraffe were. Wild dogs were sort of definitely some kind of electronic trance music. Something hyped up with high energy.
Impalas with Spice Girls.
Oh yes, Impalas with Spice Girls.
Britney Spears.
Or Britney Spears. What was the other one? Oh, the Birmingham boys were listening to proper gangster music.
Gangster hip hop.
Yeah, gangster hip hop, cruising the area, being the big deals. Oh, Indian miners, you don't belong here. One of the most invasive and damaging species to enter South Africa, the Indian myna. They are prolifically resilient. Part of the starling family, but not a native member of South Africa.
I love them. I don't know why.
Andrew loves them.
Maybe not a good thing, but...
I'm not a huge fan. The one thing that all places have is a mixture of local and folklore and legends. And Siberia Zumi was asking a little bit about them, since we're looking at creatures that do not belong. We were wondering whether there's any rumors of something like Sasquatch or Bigfoot or anything like that. Probably the most commonly believed myth or legend is that of the Tokolosh, which is a meter-high man who wanders around and kidnaps ladies and does terrible things to them at night, which is why a lot of the local people have their beds up on bricks around here. That's thought to distract the Tokolosh. I, of course, don't believe in such things, but I did actually once in an old farmhouse. I was walking down the corridor. It's where I used to live, was in an old 50-year-old farmhouse. And I saw something out of the corner of my eye. To this day, I still don't know what it was. I mean, I must have been half asleep and dreaming. But I told everybody about it as a joke the next day, and all of the sort of local staff members went into an absolute panic that I'd seen a Tokolosh and that it was time to cleanse the house. That's probably the biggest legend out here. There's a couple of malevolent spirits that are part of myths and legends. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but they supposedly inhabit the sort of rock crevices. And you read stories about people, even people who don't believe in that sort of thing, driving past and getting a really sinister feeling about a space. I've stopped to see if I can hear any blues or jazz beats coming from the hippos at the dam. Nothing so far. Hello, grey heron.
What's he listening to?
What is he listening to? Ooh, that's it. Handel's water music.
Maybe a bit of Enya.
Oh, Enya, yes, I like that. Singing Say No Way in its head. Yes, there we go. Gretchen, I agree. Zebras would be listening to punk. There is just boundless options for this new game of ours. I think Andrew is a genius. Hello, Hippo. How's the blues going? Old school jazz. Aretha Franklin. They probably actually have the warmest spot today. The wind is howling, the drizzle is drizzling. They're safe and ensconced in their nice warm dam. It's the place to be this morning. Brrr, cold. Shell and Jerry, I agree. We were discussing what hyenas would be earlier, and you suggested heavy rock. I went with a South African band known as the Antwoord. That was my thought as to hyenas listening material. Especially with those creepy smiles of theirs and the giggling sounds they make, I think it would fit right in. What else could we have? Yes, I like that. Giraffe love Taylor Swift. That's exactly right. Blacksmith lapwings? Something with percussion and rhythm. But yes, Sean, giraffe and Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. I like that. What would be into boy bands and Justin Bieber and One Direction and all of that? I'm trying to think.
Maybe little steenbokkie.
Steenbokkies, yes. Perfect. Now in my head, that lapwing is a Rolling Stones fan.
I was going to say Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley? That also works. I can see it. Hey, I think Barbara's got it right. Rhino and Elvis. Oh, the images in my head are hilarious. Picturing rhinos singing Suspicious Minds and Hound. Actually, the Hound Dog is the funniest one. Or Jailhouse Rock. Andrew, you have inspired. Here's our Gosling family. Good point. Joel in Oregon. Somebody's got to listen to local African music. Nyala like traditional African music and sometimes break into Johnny Clegg every now and again when they're feeling adventurous. Oh, I didn't think of buffalo. Buffalo is also an option. Buffalo singing Shaw Shaloza as they walk together in a herd. I thought about Bob Marley. I somehow thought about baboons when I thought about Bob Marley, just because they always look so laid back. Not that we see them all that often here, but when you do see them and they're sitting in trees, you can just imagine them whistling away to some Rasta tunes. And kingfishers, also got to be something girly, the way that they whistle like they do. Oh well, quick check-in at Arathusa Dam and some music. That's a nice one. So when you next see Karula on her hunting missions, she's listening to Mission Impossible, the Mission Impossible theme tune. I like that. I also think there's a possibility for an Indiana Jones link there as well. Some old school John Williams soundtrack. Oh, now we need some sort of Hans Zimmer soundtrack, listeners. Pirates of the Caribbean style. Oh, fun game. Fun game to play. I like the idea of the Mission Impossible. I was struggling with leopards. So snakes. Donna says snakes love flute music. It is the way forward as they slither along. Ah, now chameleons. Chameleons in my head with their eyes facing in opposite directions and looking a little bit out of it. I think we're looking at some Woodstock era music. Possibly a little bit of Simon Garfunkel, maybe a bit of Jimi Hendrix on the side. Boundless, endless entertainment potential here. Michael, very clever. The wildebeest love this song, The Lions Sleep Tonight. Oh, that's funny. That's very clever. What listens to Eye of the Tiger? Tiger, yeah, tiger listens to Eye of the Tiger. Aww, Judy. Agreed. All creatures in the bush love to listen to Mr. James, the wonderful, incredibly talented Mr. James Hendry. He will be back amongst us to supplement our numbers by tomorrow sometime. That's absolutely true. Everybody loves James Hendry. Most especially the WildEarth team. James Hendry and his magical guitar.
Are vultures listening to Marilyn Manson?
Yes. Perfect. Vultures listen to Marilyn. Oh, marabous and vultures. Marabous and vultures listen to Marilyn Manson. What other? And Chris Rogue. Crocodiles listen to Elton John's Crocodile Rock. Oh, what else can I think of? What do dwarf mongoose listen to? They've got to have something high-pitched and squeaky. Justin Bieber? Okay, be careful what I say. Well, on a quiet morning, we've had an amazing... There's our Spice Girls audience. Quite deep in the block though. And of course, now that I want to, I can't think of one Spice Girls song. Zelda. Dung beetles would be fans of the Rolling Stones. Yep, absolutely. I concur with that 100%. And then you need something for the big eagles, like the fish eagles. Jerry and I are on the same page. Jerry, one of our WildEarth APs and occasional director. Jerry has suggested that mongoose listen to One Direction. Agreed. You and I are on the same page. I'm not entirely sure what page that is. I think it's bordering on manic. But we're having a great time. What other animals haven't we done? Did we see?
Warthog.
Warthog. Ooh. Warthogs are a tricky one. Yeah. Disney songs. Kirsty disagrees. Kirsty thinks that they listen to classical music. I don't know. I think... Yeah, I guess maybe. Classical with lots of brass. Lots of trombones. Possibly Prokofiev. Or Stravinsky. Yes, actually no, Kirsty, I agree with you. That surprising level of intelligence and depth. And I think big birds of prey that soar have to have something sort of really grand and dramatic for their soundtrack.
Maybe like Celine Dion.
Celine Dion? Yes, Celine Dion. Lots of high and sustained notes. Somebody's got to listen to Broadway musicals. Oh, I could listen to Broadway musicals. Maybe could have fall into that category, although I think we've already covered them. Well, anyway, just something for you to... Scott, everybody's getting involved now. Scott has suggested that buffalo bulls listen to reggae. Also suits them really well when they're wallowing in the mud. And now that we've said that, those of you who are watching the show, I bet you won't be able to unhear that. Every time you see a buffalo bull wallowing in a pan, next sighting I'm just going to very softly sing reggae songs while we watch buffalo. Clever. Inga says that squirrels love the nutcracker. A bit of Tchaikovsky in the morning. Hello, Giraffe. What are you listening to? Yes. Well done, James Richard. Lilac-breasted rollers listen to Lady Gaga. Hello, boy. Or girl. Girl with a missing ossicone. Oh, no, not missing. Just bent. Look at those cheeks. That is a very full mouth. Listening to Taylor Swift and ruminating. Hey, girl. That was a serious mouthful that you had there. Unless her cheeks are swollen. Taylor Swift just hit a high note. Stopped her chewing for the moment. Carrying on. Now that bent ossicone could have been a growth defect. Might have been just a little bit of a damage done to her when she was young and growing up. Could also be that she collided with a tree. Of course, those ossicones are bone, so they can be broken, and once they are broken, they don't necessarily heal or set straight in the same way that they were. Still got a very bulging cheek. It was a serious mouthful there. Quite a short, I know this sounds ridiculous, she's quite a short giraffe. I mean, as giraffe go, she's not that young, she's quite dark in colour, but she's tiny. I mean, everything's relative. Hey, pretty girl. Nancy, I think you're right. I think the giraffe thinks we've lost our minds. I think I might agree. But hey, at least we're having a wonderful time while we do. What do you think, Andrew? Have we lost our minds?
Definitely.
Definitely. Entirely plausible. Hello, girl. Actually been a really beautiful morning. Nice to have this drop in temperature. And I'm sure the animals are all enjoying it as well. Okay, let us leave her and to her ruminations and Taylor's swift listening. Boy, girl. Interesting. She really is short. Giraffe number 2. Also a female, a bit more normally proportioned and playing camera shy. Disappeared. Amazing. You wouldn't think that a 5-meter tall animal could disappear quite so efficiently. They do that very well. Part, these giraffes out here relatively jigger doesn't seem to stick in here. There we go. For the most part, they're relatively safe from most threats. It's only really a big pride of lions that could take them down, but there are certain prides of lions, particularly in Kruger, that hunt giraffe and specialize in hunting giraffe by chasing them onto tar roads where they slip and fall down. And James Taylor, I know you were wondering whether or not they fall down and injure themselves. Not often. As I said with the lions, it's a deliberate act on the part of the lions. It does occasionally happen. What does happen slightly more regularly is that when they're drinking, if they hold their heads down for too long, the way that their veins and valve systems work, they actually can pass out if they hold their heads lower than their chests for too long. And occasionally giraffe drown in water holes in that way. But generally, for the most part, very graceful animals. Very seldom. They can break limbs, especially if they run into aardvark holes. But it always amazes me that there aren't more injuries in the bush than there actually are. Just the number of spiky thorns and hidden logs and hidden aardvark holes. I know all about them from driving. Cool. Thank you, girl. Common injury with giraffe, particularly in open spaces, is that they do get struck by lightning as the highest point in the area. It does occasionally happen. I'm still completely distracted by all of the different possibilities for songs. I'm now trying to think of what millipedes would listen to. I feel like it would be something completely unexpected. And it's been an incredibly entertaining morning. Thank you all for joining in the game as enthusiastically as you have. And of course, a big thank you to Andrew for masterminding the whole process, as well as his always awesome camera work. And a big thanks as well to Brent for his wonderful Karula sighting, and to Kirsten Loon FC. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pass you back across to Brent for the last few moments of our sunrise safari. Cheers for now.
Wasn't that fantastic being able to spend, Wildy told me, or Wium told me, we spent just under 2 hours with that leopard, and she did take us through some interesting areas. And she's still on the hunt in this cool weather. She went into a very deep drainage system, and we all were unable to follow her, but hopefully she has some luck while we're gone, and we'll definitely try and look for her on the sunset safari. Also nice to catch up with those wildebeests, see how many babies were still remaining. So there were 3 there, so I think the lions probably got to 2 yesterday morning, and the lions have crossed south. Wild dogs were found to the east of us, so hopefully they come west this afternoon. Oh, look at that. You're gonna get him. Nice juvenile battalion. Go backwards. Oh, he's hovering almost above us. No, you're going too fast, battalion. Oh, he's just going too quickly. Oh, there we go, he's turned. He's just going a little bit too quickly for us. There we go. So it's still got the juvenile colouring. Boop, disappeared. So it has been fantastic, and thank you everyone for joining us, especially the new viewers. We really do appreciate your questions, and sorry if we didn't answer all of them. We tried to get through as many of them as possible, but don't forget to hashtag SafariLIVE and share your screenshots from the morning, or put them on our Facebook page, the SafariLIVE Facebook page. And another epic safari this morning, and hopefully an even more epic one to follow on the sunset safari. Wium and I are going to go find some breakfast. We're quite hungry after following Karula. So have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are in the world, and we will see you later.